Hello everyone, this is Connie Thor for a week 3 discussion. Was learning to read hard or did it come easily to me? That was actually hard for me because as an EL student, I didn't have all the help I needed at the time, and I was always being taken out of class to go do fluency reading during the time we did ELA, so I would always miss. It was a good 20 minutes of ELA in class, learning how to read and everything. I was just mostly doing fluency while I was being pulled out in my younger years. And my mom and my dad, they didn't really speak English. They didn't really know how to read or write in English. So I have to rely on my siblings. And it was hard for them too, because as they were teaching me, they were also going to school. So it was like, they were obligated to teach me, and it wasn't something that they really liked doing too. They were kind of forced upon to do it, so that was my experience with that. Some elements that assisted me with the learning process of having to read was actually was my second grade teacher. She was actually the one that was like, okay, put you in small groups, and she pulled me in for small groups the most. um I believe it was like for ELA, she did 20 minutes teaching and it was like 20 minutes small groups. And that really helped me because she really focused. She grabbed like books that were like my grade level at the time, because I think I was 1 or 2 grade level behind from where I was at. So then she pulled those books and she really helped me, like, okay, this is how you read this word. So with that being said, like, let's start reading it slowly. This is what this word may what they mean. And so she really helped with that. And then also with just, taking it slowly for me and then making reading fun. She didn't make reading like, oh, if you don't read, this is what's gonna happen. She was always like, hey, you don't like that book, let's find a book that you like. So it was always something that she made a really positive outlook on reading for me. Never Nothing really negative. um What do you hope to offer your students based on your experience? I actually hope to offer them something similar, to give them that confidence in reading. And because I work a lot with sixth graders, and a lot of them, they're really shy to make a mistake when reading. And I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. Make that mistake. I show them that I make mistakes all the time, and so they feel confident to make that mistake. And I make sure that, students are not making fun of each other, because that's one of the biggest things. They're embarrassed to make that mistake. So I always let them know, hey, we're not gonna put down each other. If they don't know it, it's okay. We're gonna work with each other because we're a family, we're a team. We don't want anyone to be left behind. And we want to help them so they could be with us and, really be able to enjoy the reading. And so when you really put it that way, the students actually really become helpful to each other and be like, oh, hey, yeah, you know that word meaning here, let me tell you, and then let's see if you could understand it in this sentence. And they really, really kind of just love playing that mentor aspect to each other, and it's really fun for them. um so my favorite book as a child was the Magic Tree House series, by Mary Pope Osborne. I didn't have the favorite book from that series, but I always had favorite part was that moment where they transfer into the world that they were reading about, the world where the map is about. So that was like always my favorite part, was that imagination I had when they transfer. The moment they start talking about, oh, where they're at and the clothing they're wearing is different, whether they're in Egypt, China, whether with dinosaurs or anything. And that was always just my favorite part, was when that happened. And that was when reading really sparked for me. That creative imagination really sparked, and I got into the reading. It wasn't anything else. It was always that part that sparked for me. And so that was always the part that I loved the most. And then also the part where they have to come back, and then they don't make it back within a couple days or hours, they're not going to be able to come back home, so they have to rush to get back home. And that's also the other part that I loved, and it's like the suspense: are they going to make it, are they not going to make it? And so that was like what made me find it so enjoyable, was it sparked my imagination, and not a lot of books did that. How could you use your book section for vocabulary and comprehension instruction? So my book has a lot of vocabulary targeted for third graders, and with sixth graders, they don't really work the same way. But my I remember the Magic Tree House book, they have a lot of, words that are introduced, like, they'll be like, "Oh," you know, for example, if there's a word, like a bigger word in there, like illustration, and if students in 6th grade, they sometime when it gets the bigger words, they don't know what that means. So we coulda just even used those little things, like other word illustrations or the word determination and stuff like that. Because in the Magic House, but they do have little words like that that could build up and add up, and we could totally do it by chapter. Each chapter may have different vocabulary as, we're approaching different levels of, complexity when we get into 6th grade. And if I am a 6th grade, I would probably have to do that if I'm doing the Magic Treehouse book, but as that is a 3rd grade book standard, so I'm not really sure how that will work out yet. It'll probably be by chapter with different one each time. And, the strategies I could really focus on when reading this book is comprehension skills and really, context clues. If you don't know what it means, let's use a context clue because in the story, they do actually tell you what certain words mean, as interesting, like, the little sister, she's younger, so he would use bigger words, and she'd be like, "I don't know what that means," and he'll be like, "Hey, so, this word means this." So, they're really able to connect with it and bond with the story at the same time. And while doing that, I might just use this for maybe a small group assignment for students, and while they're reading the vocabulary and everything, as they're going in, they could understand what it means and everything. And so it'll be really great for students, and not even this, I could even use this to follow along with the what we're doing ELA. Like, whenever you're reading something, you can always have text structure, and, since this book is, a literature book, it's not a informational, then we could always just add certain things in. We could what's the main idea? What's the, key details around it? And we could do chapter by chapter to help students kind of understand what we're doing ELA and following it along too. So it'll be perfect for that combination. And that's my discussion for this week. Thank you.